You're listening to The Accidental Exile, stories of cities, strangers, and silence, and the people that we become when we leave too much behind. I want to be anywhere, and here will do. We leave the endless mesh of bristling flyovers and emerge from our SUVs to find ourselves having returned to the communist era. It is a world of hastily poured concrete and patched up hovels, sluggish irrigation ditches and plastic tubes snaking through dry stone walls, listlessly filling stinking tanks of mosquito-infested water. We trudge through the heat between a series of ramshackle enclosures under stunted trees, scattering scrawny chickens and bleating goats in our path. The indeterminate smell of decaying foliage, the cloying heat, dusty hillsides of impenetrable bamboo and drought-resistant grasses, the ever-present scent of ordure and the oppressive, buzzing silence. We breathlessly make our way up a series of pathways towards the top of the hill, every stone laid by hand, decades of hurried repairs shoring up the twists and turns in the path against sudden downpours, the relentless annual cycle of extremes that crack the earth and turn it to liquid year in, year out. In spite of the great visions of communist leaders, the people still eke out their existence by pushing against the seasons, just as they have always done. Sometimes fruitful, often fruitless, they have no choice but to just keep going. We, on the other hand, are the future, marching in with plans to build holiday camps where once there was only poverty and quite possibly great cruelty, if these stones could speak. Our hosts are wearing designer sunglasses and soft Prada loungewear. They're as alien to this as I am. To them it is just another day in their lives, no different than you or I would be on a business trip to the dull outskirts of a medium-sized British town. Wenzhou. You've never heard of it, but you know them. I hadn't heard of it either, but if you have met a Chinese person abroad, whether it be in a takeaway in Leeds or a tailor's in Milan, the chances are that the person in question will be from Wenzhou. The people of this small city by the sea, a few hundred miles southwest of Shanghai, are renowned for many things, principal amongst which is their desire to travel to anywhere but here. It is they amongst all the Chinese peoples that set out decades ago to set up successful businesses all over the world, and it's the first thing that most Chinese people will tell you about Wenzhou. As usual, we trooped off into the nearby hills and valleys and stared at bits of land that were owned by our potential partners. We looked at a hillside and went to lunch. And during said lunch, I learned several things that warmed me to this place. Firstly, they came back from France and Italy with an appreciation of coffee that has led to them developing a localized style of the drink that is the envy of all of China. Coffee only started taking off here in the past 5 years. In 2018 or so, you could easily find a Costa or a Starbucks, but the coffee was made with UHT milk. They got smart pretty quickly, though, and by 2023 there was an artisan barista on the corner of every mall, minus the tattoos, beard and man bun, of course, which is a plus. But in Wenzhou they were way ahead, importing Italian coffee machines decades ago, and consequently they have a tradition of coffee making that is quite unique to them. The second thing is tea. Now, as you know, tea is to China as wine is to France, and every city boasts its own regional variations for which it is justifiably proud. Wenzhou nailed it again, and as well as having their year-round tea, they have a unique summer tea which is only available between very specific dates beginning in June and ending in August. The tea is said to have various health benefits that fortify mind and body against the punishing summer weather. I'll never forget that pot of tea, sitting there in the overly tiled back room of a rural restaurant with my elegant hosts, bright-eyed, watching my every move, eagerly awaiting my response. They knew they had introduced me to a uniquely new experience. It is apparent that geography formed their culture. The mountains at their back pushed them out to sea. The microclimate formed by those same mountains induced a peculiar type of tea, and a need for a blend that would bring comfort in the fetid months of summer. My host then invited me to try 2 different types of fish, while telling me that the city is also geographically divided, by its river and coastal areas. Therefore, I would try the freshwater fish favoured by the upstream people than the saltwater fish that was the preference of the coast dwellers. And last of all, after a typical Chinese lunch consisting of everything, they brought out the Chinese pizza, as they like to call it. Except it's not. It's more like a kind of flat calzone. Again, it was born out of necessity. Wenzhou is surrounded by those mini mountains I mentioned before. They are small and pretty, but there's a lot of them. In the old days, a journey to the city from even a short distance away could be a hazardous undertaking. And the Chinese pizza wrap thing was developed as a way of packing a meal in on itself in a form that would last a sojourn over the mountains. This does bear some resemblance to pizza. I recall being told a story once that pizza itself evolved as a way of enabling Italian workers to carry their lunch to the building site. Those pretty little mountains around Wenzhou necessitated a culinary sensation to come into being. Either the people of Wenzhou are slaves to their environment, or they are people who respond to the challenges of that environment with flair and imagination. And given their wandering spirit, I suspect it is the latter. The contents were a little spicy, and it made for a lovely end to the meal. I started wondering if I would ever come across them again. It's unlikely in China, where the food is so varied it's hard to remember what hit the spot, let alone read its name on a menu, let alone find it again. In this case, it's a local specialty, and I'm not likely to see Wenzhou again unless a deal is struck. I have done my best, and I hope to return. We take a taxi and plough through the rush hour traffic to reach a nondescript train station, to then make the long journey home. It is clear to me that the people I am with don't want to be here. None of this is new or interesting to them. They spend every spare moment of the day on their phones. The 21st century go-to. Just £8 a month in China, and you have the means to escape from the unbearable present. So we live in a world where, wherever we are, we want to be somewhere else. Because our little pocket computer has conditioned us to be somewhere other than here. I get it. You see one Chinese train station, you've seen them all. But although they might not want to be here, I want to be anywhere, and here will do. In being forced into all of this, I've been given the gift of being present. It didn't take months on a mountaintop in silent contemplation. It took a series of accidents and the pressing need to make a living, somehow, somewhere, anywhere, that brought me to this place. And all I can do in response is to be here, now. No need to go on a quest to find yourself. No need to go to a retreat. The best plan is to fail to have a plan. You just keep going. You never arrive because you are just here, wherever that is. And wherever you go, you will always find the same thing when you get there. Yourself and a person who will give you a tea. A person with a story to tell.
The Accidental Exile is written and read by me, Finley Cowan. If this story spoke to you, subscribe, find more on YouTube and Patreon. Let's keep the conversation unfinished.